that's who they are, then I'm exactly like them. And in this story with Blake, I found out just how much like them I am. See, after that coffee date with Blake, Kristen and I yet again didn't hear from her for weeks and months. Same thing. Email, phone call, text, it didn't matter. We never heard back. Well, months later, I get a phone call from her parents. And her parents tell me that Blake's substance abuse has gotten so extreme that they've had to withdraw her from the University of Texas. And they have placed her in an inpatient rehab facility in Kentucky. So I get off the phone, I hang it up, and inwardly I'm going, yes! All right! This is fantastic! This is amazing! And it sounds like I'm celebrating something that's worthwhile, right? Because it sounds like I'm celebrating the fact that my friend is getting help. But that's not why I'm truly celebrating. I'm celebrating the fact that now Blake is 3 states away and I don't have to deal with it. That I don't have to be bothered, that I don't have to worry, that I don't have to think about her. And now I can go back to being a big, important writer. And I can go back to being successful. And I can go back to playing with words and impressing people all around the world. And so I'm excited about that. And that's exactly what I do for months. I stop thinking about her. And I go back to my important, self-contained, self-absorbed life. Until one day, when I get a text message from Blake. Out of the blue, this brief text says, "Hey, I'm in Austin. What are you and Kristen doing?" So obviously I'm confused because I'm under the assumption that she's in a rehab inpatient facility states away, but you're not going to communicate all that via text. So all I do is respond to her question, "What are you doing?" And I say, "Nothing. Please come have dinner with us." A few hours later, Blake shows up. Kristen and I decided to splurge and have a feast of Chinese food. So we ordered all the delicious things, and we sit at our dining room table at our condo downtown Austin, and Blake arrives. And I mean, her appearance had just deteriorated even more than the last time I had seen her. And she comes in and she sits down, and while we're clicking our chopsticks together and eating our chow mein and fried rice, we're kind of having this very, very casual banter back and forth across the table. We're talking about movies, we're talking about music, we're talking about the weather. And we get about an hour into this thing when my sense of impatience and confusion just reaches its boiling point. And so finally, I lean forward and I go, "Blake, we're really glad you're here, but I don't understand what's going on. I was under the assumption you were at this inpatient rehab facility in Kentucky, and now you're here. And Blake, there's even something else that I'm missing. I mean, I understand the substance abuse stuff, but I feel like there's a chapter in the narrative of your life over the last year and a half that I have not been clued in on. Like, Blake, what has happened to you?" And as we sat there at our dining room table, Blake told me. As I said, and this is the part I knew, she left Chicago, she went to Austin, she found herself surrounded by a group of people who claimed to care about her, but just cared about getting it from her. She ventured into this world of substance abuse, and it swallowed her alive. And then she told me the part, me and Kristen, that we didn't know. That one night, Blake was out in downtown Austin with her friends. And Blake was attacked. And Blake was raped. And through the rape, Blake got pregnant. And through the pregnancy, Blake had an abortion. And through the abortion, every single person that claimed to represent the love of God to her ran away as if she was radioactive or contagious. As if they didn't want to catch what she had. They were so busy judging her and condemning her that they weren't willing to kneel on the road beside her. And so Blake, now dealing with pain that I cannot possibly fathom, spirals deeper and deeper, darker and darker and darker. And so she's telling us all this. And then she says, and then my parents put me in this drug rehab facility, She's like, and I just couldn't take it anymore. She's like, so I left. I ran away. I took a bus. I'm down here, and now I'm living with my boyfriend who sells LSD out of his home. And you guys, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. And I'm sitting there. I know I don't say this. I'm thinking, I want nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this. I want nothing to do with this. Y'all want to know what priests and politicians in the story of the Good Samaritan look like? They don't look like villains. They don't have horns and tails and pitchforks. They don't look like dragons. They look just like me. I'm one of them. I am exactly who Jesus was talking about. Perhaps you know what I mean. Let me ask you a question. In your life, are you really loving people? To Jesus, this was like it. Are you really loving other people? I continue to learn that love is synonymous. It's always attached to another word called sacrifice. Without love, there is no sacrifice. And without sacrifice, there is no love. And love always costs us something. It costs us time. It costs us emotion. Sometimes it costs us sleep. Sometimes it costs us money. Sometimes it costs us our reputations. The love that you are giving out to other people, what's it costing you? Like, when's the last time you loved somebody in such a way that it really cost you something? This is just my opinion, but I think if we sit here and say, yeah, I love people, but it doesn't cost me anything, I'm not sure we really understand what Jesus means when he tells us to love others. The love that you are giving, what's it costing you? Are you a priest? Are you like me? Are you a politician? Maybe just a little bit too caught up in your own life to put your needs and desires on hold for the sake of another person? If you're a priest and a politician, if you're like me, I have really good news. And the good news is, it's only when we reach a point where we are humble enough to own that, accept that, see it, and take responsibility for it, that we can respond by going, God, I am so selfish. I am so consumed in my own life and blind to everyone else. I am so self-absorbed. I'm such a priest and a politician. And God, I know deep down that you're the only one that can change that. It's only when we reach that point that God goes, okay. He says, this is what I do. And then he takes our hearts and he molds them and he bends them and he shapes them. And yes, oftentimes he even breaks them, so that we become more like the last character in his story. See, evening has arrived over the land. The sun is going down. The moon like a silver dish off in the distance. And the solitary traveler is lying there, wondering if he's about to take his last breath, when around the bend comes a Samaritan. And he's pulling his donkey behind him, and the Samaritan comes around the bend, and he sees the traveler lying there, and he does something that neither of the first two passersby were willing to do. He's willing to go to him. In other words, he's willing to put his life on hold and enter the life of another person. And he ties the donkey by the reins up to a tree, and he runs over to the traveler. And when he reaches him, he takes out from his bag a bottle of wine and a bottle of vinegar, and he pours them all over the traveler, trying to wash away all the mud and all the blood and all the dust, and just to provide just a tiny bit of soothing to the bruises, now black and blue, covering his body from head to toe. And if the story just ended there, we would go, that's remarkable what he did. But the story doesn't end there. It then says, if you read the story, that he picks the man up. Now, I didn't fare very well on standardized testing, so Lord knows this could be incorrect. But I am guessing that if you are going to pick someone up who is lying on the ground, it requires me to take a very, very physical and very specific posture. You know what it is? It probably means if I'm going to pick this person up, I have to do this. It probably means I have to get on my knees. And it almost seems like Jesus is subconsciously whispering to all of us, if you really want to love other people, you know what the first step is? You got to be humble enough to realize that you are no better than them. That you are no less messy than the person you are kneeling beside. And so he drops to his knees and he picks him up. And I would imagine if you're going to pick him up, you're either going to slide your arms under the body or around it. Either way, on this gravel road, you are going to chew up your arms pretty good on that infinite galaxy of tiny stones. And so he slides his arm under, he picks him up, knees aching, back aching, and he pulls him over his shoulder. And so now here's the question. If there's any mud, blood, and filth all over the traveler, who's the mud, blood, and filth all over now? And he pulls him into his chest. This person. It's like Jesus is saying, following me does not mean you look pristine. Following me means you are covered in the mess of other people. And so with blood smeared on the Samaritan's face and his cloak covered in mud, he walks over, he sets the man on the donkey, he unties the reins, and then he takes him to the nearest inn. I don't know which direction he goes. Maybe he went the opposite direction that he was originally intending. But he gets to the inn, and he arrives, and he picks him up again. He goes in, he pays the innkeeper money, and you can see what's happening here. It's costing him time. It's costing him his clothing. It's costing him emotion. It's costing him his energy. It's costing him his money. It's costing him all these things. And he takes him and he carries him up the stairs. He takes him to the room. He lays him down in the bed. And now there's this very, very significant part of the story. And this is what I call the magic punctuation. After he takes him to the inn, in the story it goes, period. The next day, he gave the innkeeper more money. So this implies something very significant. You know what it implies? It implies that the Samaritan spent the night. That all night he sat by this person's bedside going, hey, you're gonna make it. You're okay. You're not alone. I am here. Everything that deep down we all want to know. He gets him water. He gives him another blanket. He massages his bruises and his wounds, and he says, I'm not leaving. And then the next morning, 24 hours into this story, is yet again like a crimson yoke. The dawn sun is oozing over the horizon. The Samaritan comes down the stairs into the lobby of the inn. He gives the innkeeper more money, and he says, now you look after him. It's not just, I've cared for you, now you're on your own. He goes, no. Now you love this person with me. And then he tells him, you care for him until I come back, because you better believe I'm coming back for this person. And Jesus reaches the end of this story. He tells him, he goes, you want to know how to love people? Do you really want to know? He says, you love them just like this. And I so wish he had said, hey, you know what? I don't expect you to really do that. I mean, I was using hyperbole, exaggerating for dramatic effect. I mean, I know you got things to do. I don't really expect you to do that. Jesus doesn't say that. He says, if you really want to know how to love people, you love them just like this. I mean, it is a daunting kind of love. It's an overwhelming kind of love. It's a miraculous, transformative, infinite ocean of love. And it's a kind of love I believe I got to see play out in this story with Blake. See, we're sitting there nearing the bottoms of our white carton Chinese food. And Blake, in tears, has just said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I internally have just responded, I want no part of this. Nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this. And then my wonderful, intelligent, and ferociously brave wife gives me this look. And if you have ever been in love, you know this look, and it is terrifying. And as best I can describe this look, it essentially means, Josh, you better know what I'm thinking without me having to say it. So she gives me this look, and then she looks at Blake, and then Kristen looks back at me, and then she looks back at Blake, and she goes, well, Blake, you really don't know what to do? And she goes, no. And Kristen goes, well, there's only one thing to do. You gotta move in with us. And I felt like, I was like, I think I'm having a stroke. She goes, yeah, you gotta move in with us. And immediately, it's like in those dark, sunken eyes, plummeting in Blake's eye sockets, it's like you could see for the first time in so long, there was this tiny glimmer of a word that every single person on the planet wants. All of us. It's called hope. It's like for the first time in so long, she just felt like the traveler on the road going, maybe it's not going to end like this for me. And she looks at Kristen and she goes, trembling, she goes, oh my God, would you be willing to do that for me? To which Kristen responds, she goes, of course, because we love you. And Blake looks at me and she goes, Josh, what do you think? And y'all, I don't love well at all. I rarely love well, but I sure recognize love when I see it. I sure recognize what's right when I see it, and I recognize it in my incredible wife, and I knew what was the right thing to do. And so when Blake said, Josh, what do you think? I was fortunate enough to be able to say, because of Kristen, of course. The first thing we had to do was go get Blake's possessions from this drug dealer's house. And I had wild fantasies about how this would go down. So Kristen stayed at the house and I went. And as I'm walking up the door, I'm like, okay, what's a tough thing to do? Trying to think like, okay, what would Sylvester Stallone do? What would Chuck Norris do? Whatever.